Hi there. Today I'm going to do a little, this is a long-term review of the Danielsson dry fly reel. Just thought I would kind of let you know my thoughts on it. I've owned this reel probably about a year now. I bought it for mainly my river fishing. I do fish a lot with a 5-weight. So that was kind of my thoughts behind it. One of the reasons I chose this reel, I used to, and here in the UK, I've no affiliation to any companies, but we used to there's a company called Sportfish. They're still on the go, still one of the biggest fishing tackle retailers in Britain. They used to send catalogues through the door, and at the time they always had loop reels which were Loop Danielsson. Since then, Danielsson have they're no longer kind of associated with Loop, but I used to look in those catalogues, and there were things of beauty that I mean, I could never have afforded one. So years later, I decided last year to treat myself. They're not ridiculously expensive reels, but I think a wee bit of nostalgia, I just wanted one. So a couple of things to tell you about the reel. I think I could have this wrong, but I'm pretty sure the design's probably from the 80s. They were quite revolutionary in the 80s. It was a very, very new design. There's no drag to speak of on these reels. I'll show you in just a wee second. It is large arbor, but not as large as some of the modern stuff that you'll see these days. Okay, we'll talk about the drag, or lack of drag. There's no click on this reel. It's all silent both ways. It runs on these rollers, which are on bearings. I'll just unscrew that and take it off and show you. So that pops out. There's only really 3 parts to this reel. There's that part there, which has got your 3 bearings on it, and then your spool, which we'll just take off, which is very, very lightweight. I mean, it weighs nothing. And then your back plate, which is one of the things I really liked about this reel. It's full cage. That I'm a wee bit old fashioned, I like that. And then you've got 3 more bearings here. So when you put it back together, I'll just line up that fly line, sorry. Do this with the camera. So you slide it in there, it clicks in nicely into place. Make sure your fly line's not caught. Set that in place like so, and then screw it down. Now, if you don't screw it down enough, it could easily overrun. So that's what Danielsson says. This knob adjusts the tension on the overrun, so it stops the reel from overrunning. So I like to just set it so that it can't freely spin. There's no, like I say, no drag. So when you are playing fish, you're playing it, you're rimming them, your hands on the rim of the reel, which I think's fine. I mean, most of my fishing is done Scottish rivers, and we don't have massive brown trout like you might find in Iceland or Russia or anywhere like that, so you don't really need a drag. I've got this loaded with a 5-weight Cortland 444, which fits perfectly well. What Danielsson says that this system gives you an extremely low startup inertia for all your reel geeks out there, which is basically this. You want this to be smooth. The pulling off is to be smooth. That's the kind of layman's way of putting it. And they say that allows you to fish really, really light tippets. I've never, I don't use a drag a lot on a river trout reel in this country, so I find them unnecessary. So it suited me right down to the ground. Like I say, it's large arbor, which gives you the fast line retrieval, but it's not super large arbor like what you would find on. I found a lot of the reels I was looking at were, I think 5-weight reels have gone too big for my liking. I like a nice small balanced. It's all personal preference. So I'll run you through some of the just the facts and figures for it. It weighs 130 grams without your line, which is probably middle of the road. I mean, the Lamsons and stuff like that are really, really light, but I mean, I'm not a fan of going too light. I like a robust reel, which this seems to be so far. The outer diameter is 95 mil. Danielsson recommend it for a line weight of 2 to 6, and like I say, I've got a 5-weight on this, which they say will take 73 metres of 20-pound backing. I'm probably got about 50, 60 metres on that, and then my 5-weight, and as you can see, I could have probably got a wee bit more on it, but there was no need. So it also comes in a midge. So this is the dry fly. Obviously, it's not only for dry fly fishing. It also comes in a midge, which is the smallest. I think that's for sort of 0 to 2-weight fly lines. And then there's a nymph, which is I think for 3 and 4 weights. And then this is the dry fly, which is I think perfect size for 5. I paid €168 for this. Now they're made in Sweden, as I said, and I don't know if you can make that out there. We'll see if we can turn that up the right way around. Made in Sweden. Sorry about that. See if we can get it to focus. Maybe not. And they're all numbered. Comes in this nice wee box and a nice wee neoprene pouch which fits snugly. Overall, I'm really happy with it, but I'll run through some pros and cons. The pros, I mean, I'll just show you so I'll just set this down here then out. I'll show you the book, the wee manual that comes with it. Now, this is the manual I think for all Danielsson reels, but the one we're interested in is, if you can see it, the original series. So if you're interested, you can pause that there and see if you can get a copy of it. And that's your diagram. It's one of the pros that I'm just about to mention is the ease of maintenance on this. There's 3 parts to it. It's really simple. There's nothing in my mind that I couldn't fix or oil or clean or do you know, it's really simple. One of the other pros that I'll give it is it's so far it seems robust. I'm quite rough on reels. I tend to leave them lying and drop them and all sorts. I've had reels before which have bent when I've dropped them. Kind of one of the reasons why I like the full cage on this. One of the main things that I would say, and this is purely personal, I think it's beautiful. I think it's a lovely, lovely looking reel, lovely feel, perfect size, and I know everybody's different in what they're looking for. I like a basic black, robust workhorse of a reel for my trout fishing. That's what I want, and this really does tick all the boxes. I think, I mean, some guys I know have had these for 10, 15, 20 years and they're bashed and battered and they've managed, they're still working fine. One of the cons, in fact the only con I'm going to mention here, which I think it's just fair to mention, it was recommended to me to keep an eye on these rollers which run along the inside of the frame here. the spool, the inside of the spool. If you were to sit the reel down in grit, sand, gravel, and you were to get dirt up inside here, it can get into the bearings, and you need to be careful of that. But again, if that did happen and you were maybe turning it and you had a noise, like a grinding noise, you would just unscrew it, give them a brush out with a toothbrush, put it all back together, maybe a wee bit of oil. So it hasn't happened to me yet, which I'm kind of surprised of. One of the other things I was told to do as well is dunk it in the water and just give it a rinse about and it'll be fine. I like the reel. I thought it was fair to mention that as a con. It's the only thing really that I would say to be worried about. If you're happy to have a reel with no drag whatsoever, or if you like your old style classics, I would highly recommend this. I'm delighted with it. Like I say, it sits perfectly on my 5-weight. Like I say, I don't know whether I mentioned, I think I did mention before, I paid €168 delivered to the UK from Danielsson. They seem to have different prices every now and again. But I'd highly recommend it. And I hope you guys consider it when you're looking for your next fly reel. I hope that video helped you out. Thanks very much.